Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be talking about the next YouTube adpocalypse looming over our heads. We'll talk about some changes to the YouTube strike system and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to episode 157 of the BSP. My name is Bandrew. This is what I says. Like always, down below, there are timestamps of everything that I talk about, so you can skip around and save a couple of minutes. But if you got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire episode. Last thing, if you do want a different version of the show, you can find that at bandrewsays.com. Let's jump right into the big story that has been breaking over this last week, the impending adpocalypse. And let me go ahead and get you all prepared for this. This is not a test. The end of YouTube is nigh. The ship is going down. We can't do anything. We are all doomed. Prepare for the end because it is here. Or so you've been told. Let's go ahead and talk about this story a little bit more. And this story has been covered to death, so I will be trying to go over it quickly. However, I highly doubt I will be able to do so because there is just so much to cover, but I will try to go through it as quickly as possible. And I also want to include a disclaimer up before I start talking. I am not defending the behavior that I will be discussing in this story. I am mainly defending YouTube and criticizing the guy who broke this story. So let's talk about what happened. A YouTuber by the name of Matt's What It Is released a video titled "YouTube is facilitating the sexual exploitation of children and it's being monetized 2019." In this video, Matt documents what he calls a wormhole into a softcore pedophile ring on YouTube. Now, what does he mean by this? There are videos of children being uploaded either by the child themselves or by their parents, and they are doing challenges in these videos, whether it be yoga, whether it be gymnastics, whether it be them just dancing or doing anything that is very innocent, and there is nothing bad going on in the videos necessarily. But when you look at the comment section of these videos, he discovered people leaving comments with both timestamps, and if you were to click on the timestamps, it would show the child in a compromising position or a sexually suggestive position. And in some instances, there were also comments where the commenter was saying some awful and very despicable types of things about a child. Also, Matt is stating that they are posting links to actual child pornography and also trading links to child pornography in private, in secret. Not 100% sure how he knows that, but that is the claim that he is making. Now, on top of all the creepy behavior going on in the comments, he points out that once you start to watch these videos, that becomes all that is recommended to you. And he also points out that some of these videos are even monetized. Oh my God, they're monetized. Just harmless videos of children going about their daily activity. How in the world could that be monetized? Can you tell that I somewhat disagree with this guy? Let's go ahead and work through his argument so you understand what this big breaking news story is all about. First, we'll talk about his issue with recommendations of these videos. What he did to demonstrate this is he created a brand new YouTube account, he used a VPN, and then he looked up bikini haul videos. Within a few clicks, on the sidebar of those videos, he started to see videos of children doing gymnastics, and once he clicked on a few of those videos, everything in the sidebar and the majority of stuff on his YouTube homepage ended up being similar videos to that. It was children doing challenges, doing yoga, doing all sorts of harmless things. Now, before I go any farther, I do want to go ahead and play a very funny clip for you. This is pulled right out of his video, and he is explaining why he was watching bikini haul videos. So this is just to add some levity to this story because it gets pretty dark.
And you might say, dude, you know, why are you watching bikini haul videos? I mean, red-blooded heterosexual male, do I really need to explain? Who cares? That's besides the point here.
Red-blooded heterosexual male. Do I really need to explain any farther? I just think that's hilarious. Just hilarious. Anyways, I don't understand his anger around the recommendation algorithm because that is how discoverability works on the platform. There is nothing wrong with the recommendation algorithm, in my opinion. YouTube's goal has been and will always be to get you to watch more content, because the more content that you watch on YouTube, that means the more ads they can serve you and the more money that they can get. And he even points this out earlier in his video. So I don't think he fully comprehends what he had said previously in this video, which may be understandable. He seemed pretty angry, and rightfully so. Seemed pretty emotional. Now, YouTube gets you to watch more videos by recommending you videos based on what you have watched in the past. In this case, it would be just a single bikini haul video and then kids doing gymnastics and yoga, as well as videos related to the video that you are currently watching. It is on the sidebar. It says recommended for you, and then it will also show other videos that are similar to the content that you are currently watching. Therefore, if he just created this YouTube account and the only videos that he has watched is a single bikini haul video and then dozens of videos of children doing challenges, YouTube has zero other information to base those recommendations on. So you are only going to get recommendations based on those couple dozen of videos that you have watched. That is why you are seeing a recommendation sidebar and homepage that only show you that type of content. The only solution that I would see here to solve this problem that he has of you watching a type of video and then you getting recommended that type of video is no more recommended videos at all. You just can't have them, because if you watch a Jake Paul video, your sidebar turns into recommendations of nothing but Jake Paul, or your homepage shows Jake Paul recommendations for months to come, and you have to work very, very hard to get that off of your homepage. So no recommendations at all. Or another option would be if there's a minor in your videos, they can't be recommended. And this would mean the death of family YouTube channels, which are very popular. I don't understand the appeal of them, but that could be because I don't have a family. But, well, I do have a family. I don't have a child, is what I mean. Or a wife. But I think that really could be the only solution to this issue that he has. I don't like this type of content being recommended, even though this is the only content that I have shown YouTube that I am interested in this, with this new throwaway account that I made. And that's why I think this entire complaint about once I watch these videos, that's all that's recommended, is a bit absurd and a bit ridiculous. So that is my take on his, I don't like these videos being recommended. Watch something else, and that recommendation will change. His next complaint is that these videos were monetized. Not all of them, but some of them had been monetized. And the majority of videos that he showed, if not all the videos that he showed, were very innocent, and they seemed like family channels that fit within YouTube's terms of service. And therefore, there is absolutely zero reason for any of these videos to actually be demonetized. I don't understand why there is an issue with an innocent video uploaded by a family YouTuber to be demonetized. It seems like what he is implying here is regardless of how innocent or clean the video is, if the video is being sexualized in any way, shape, or form, it should not and cannot be monetized. That is what I am getting from what he is throwing down here, and I could not disagree more. That would mean no more bikini haul videos, bro. Because you want to know why people make bikini haul videos? It's not just to get validation. It's because they know that will get clicks, and that will lead to higher ad impressions on their channel, meaning they get a bigger check at the end of the month. So if you don't like the fact that videos are being sexualized, no more bikini haul videos for you. And to be frank, no more women are allowed to upload anymore if you subscribe to this idea, because read the comments of pretty much any video that has a female in it. It is horrendous. It is horrifying, because every single woman gets sexualized in the YouTube comment section. And another option, again, would be if there's a minor in any video, it cannot be monetized, and that would lead to the death of family YouTube channels altogether, again, because they need money to survive and continue to create content. But if you are demonetizing videos because they have a minor, no more family YouTube channels, and this would require a huge change in YouTube's policy as well as a significant change in YouTube's infrastructure to be able to determine someone's age by looking at an image of them in the video. So I think this is another ridiculous argument saying I can't believe that there are advertisements on this video, even though it is completely within YouTube's terms of service. There is nothing harmful within the video. It is not pushing conspiracy theories. It is not dangerous content. It is not sensitive content. It is perfectly family-friendly content. So why would it be demonetized? That makes zero sense. But now let's talk about the comments, which is where the real issue is with this entire story. On the videos that he shows that contain a child, if you were to look in the comments, there will frequently be timestamps in those comments. And when he clicks on these timestamps, it will jump to a time in the video where the child is in a compromising or sexually suggestive video. He then goes on to point out that in November 2017, YouTube put out a blog stating, "We have historically used a combination of automated systems and human flagging and review to remove inappropriate sexual or predatory comments on videos featuring minors. Comments of this nature are abhorrent, and we work with the NCMEC to report illegal behavior to law enforcement. Starting this week, we will begin taking an even more aggressive stance by turning off all comments on videos of minors where we see these types of comments." And the reason that he has an issue with this blog post is that there is an algorithm in place that simply has not caught the behavior that is going on in the comments. But I personally don't think that's really a fair critique. And of course, I will go ahead and explain because this may be making me look pretty bad. Firstly, there were a few videos that he showed that did have comments disabled. So in certain cases where the behavior was very apparent, the comments had been disabled and the algorithm was doing the job that it set out to do by moderating this and limiting the harassment that a minor would receive. He also raised a point that if comments are disabled, why is the video still up? And that's because if the comments on your video could dictate whether the video was allowed to remain on the platform, that would be very easy to abuse, which we'll get into a little bit later because there was a scare around this type of topic. And you know, on second thought, this may actually be a good thing. I actually like this idea of using the comments to determine if a video is allowed on the platform, because there are a lot of videos that I don't like on YouTube, and I would love to just leave a string of hateful comments from throwaway accounts to get those videos taken down. So actually, I support Matt here. For anybody who didn't catch that, that was sarcasm. I don't actually want this to happen. But aside from the fact that the algorithm did catch very apparent bad behavior in the comments, the majority of comments that he did show only contained timestamps, and timestamps are used in many, many videos' comment sections for people to point out something goofy in a video, or a funny sound, or a really useful piece of information, or when the music video actually starts. So if these comments only were to include a timestamp, I don't know what YouTube could do to justify taking them down or determine that this is inappropriate behavior. I really don't think that it would be feasible for YouTube to look at every single timestamp that is posted in a comment section, review the video at that timestamp, and then have a way to determine if it could be sexualized in any way. I don't think that is feasible or a reasonable request for YouTube to do, because that seems impossible. I don't know what everybody is into, so I don't know what would justify a sexualized time in a video, a sexualized position, or anything. I don't know what that would be. So this algorithm would have to be more aware of sexual innuendo and sexual preference than the majority of society is. I don't know if that is feasible. I am sure that Google is having these conversations and trying to get to a point where they can determine this, but it seems like it's going to be a very steep uphill battle. Now, that is the entire summary of his video, but I want to go ahead and share some clips from his video. This is the first one.
I'm disgusted. So this is the last video. I've made money off of YouTube. I've made like maybe $1,000 off of my little tiny baby channel that I made I want nothing to do with this platform. I'm disgusted. I never want another cent from Google. I don't want to pay for YouTube Premium anymore. And I want this to be reported. I want something to be done about it. And I'm angry, so in a way, I want YouTube to pay.
I wanted to include that clip because I think he is using very dangerous language here. He can say it. I respect his right to say it, but that could be very easily misinterpreted by a crazy person or maybe somebody who has had a family member who has been harmed by child pornography or child abuse, and they could easily think of this as a call to action to make YouTube pay, which I would not condone in the slightest. And to clarify, if that did happen and somebody used Matt's video as justification for that action, I do not believe that Matt would be responsible for that. I have taken that stance for months. I don't think people are responsible for crazy people or angry people using their words that do not specifically call for harm to be used as justification for their harmful actions. And I just think that when you are covering such controversial or touchy subjects or very anger-inducing subjects, you need to choose your words very carefully. And by saying, I want YouTube to pay, that is a very poor choice of words. I just wanted to point that out because it shows how emotional he was being in this video, which again, I understand based on the topic that he was discussing. Here is the next clip.
This is straight up children. Exploitation happening right underneath people's noses here on YouTube. And it's disgusting. And nobody's doing anything about it. Hashtag YouTube wake up. Tell everybody about this. You know? Show them. Try this out yourself. See it for yourself. Do it yourself. Show people. Send it to local news outlets. Send it to YouTube. Send it to BuzzFeed, whoever. Somebody's got to do something about this, man. This is unbelievable. They know about this. People know about this. Why is nothing being done? That's all I have to say. Disgusted.
The reason that I included this clip is I think this is where he really starts to make a misstep. I will start by saying that I think this issue needs to be resolved, and it needs to be resolved very, very quickly because children are being harmed and taken advantage of with this type of behavior in the YouTube comment sections. But I do not think that providing his video, which could act as a how-to video, is the best way to go about it. Because if you watch his video, which I will link in the show notes, he essentially is showing people, here's how you find this wormhole. Here's how you find this content that pedophiles are so attracted to. You have shown pedophiles how to find this content. So I don't agree with his idea that share this video, show people how to do it, send it to news outlets. That is a very, very bad idea. I also don't think that ensuring that YouTube is destroyed is the right course of action either. And why do I say this? Because I am almost 99% certain that YouTube definitely doesn't want pedophiles on their platform abusing and taking advantage of kids. I can almost guarantee that. Here is the next clip.
Here, pedophiles are trading social media contacts. They're providing links to actual child porn in YouTube comments. They're trading unlisted videos in secret. And YouTube's algorithm, through some kind of glitch or error in its programming, is actually facilitating their ability to do this. This is something that a lot of people have been aware of for a long time. And what makes what I've discovered worse is the fact that I can find this wormhole from a fresh, never-before-used YouTube account via innocuous videos within about 5 clicks.
Here, I just think that he is wrong. That is how the YouTube algorithm works. When you're clicking on videos, it shows you related videos based on the tags, based on the content, based on what people have watched from each video. I don't necessarily think that that is an inherent problem. That is just how the YouTube algorithm works, based on what you've watched in the past and based on what you're watching at that time. That determines what will show up in the recommended sidebar. So if you start a new account and you only watch these types of videos, it is no surprise, and it should be no surprise to you, that that type of content is being recommended to you. Now, as far as these people sharing actual child pornography, I have no idea how that has gotten through the YouTube comment moderation system. On my channel, whenever somebody posts a link, it always gets held for review. So I simply don't understand how that could happen. If that has happened, absolutely, I would agree with him that that is a glitch. But as far as the recommendation algorithm being glitched out or being an error, I disagree with him 100%.
But I have multiple examples of big name brands. We're talking Dodge Ram, Disney in one video, a furniture company in another, where their adverts are appearing on videos where people, users, are time-stamping the girls in compromising positions.
And this isn't very surprising to me, because prior to now, comments have not been taken into account when a decision to monetize was made. They had no bearing on your monetizability, your monetization ability. The videos that he was looking at did not break the terms of service. They were not sexual in nature. They were not violent. They were not sharing dangerous ideas. It was simply children playing games or dancing or doing anything. So the videos themselves did not break terms of service. It seems like the majority of cases, the monetized videos were also the original post. It wasn't somebody downloading this type of content and re-uploading it. It did seem like it did come from the actual original uploader. So I see absolutely no reason why these videos would be demonetized, even if the comments were disgusting. Makes no sense to me. Next clip.
I've written a report, and I'm sending that report out to every news outlet that I possibly can, and I'm hoping that people will do the same.
And as I've already stated, I disagree with this completely, because this will only bring more attention on how to find this type of content. I am sure that there are people who are sick and into this type of stuff that had no idea that this existed. But now, given the amount of attention that this has been getting and the amount of news outlets covering this, you have essentially provided a how-to for all those people that were unaware that this existed, which is scary as hell. And on top of that, this is going to paint YouTube in a terrible light, and you likely knew that news outlets would be hyperbolic and paint YouTube as the villain here, which is not a good thing in the slightest for the platform as a whole. Next clip.
For me, I want nothing to do with this platform that's supporting this shit. I hope with the video evidence that I have that more people find out about adverts being played on videos like this, and that YouTube shits the bed 10 times worse than they did in 2017.
And there it is. I think that is where his flawed approach really starts to show. He did not say, I hope that the people abusing the platform and sexualizing children are dealt with quickly and by the proper authorities. He says, I hope the platform that was abused by these sickos is completely destroyed. And those are all the clips that I have. Let's go ahead and talk about the next thing. What are companies and advertisers doing? Because of the way that this issue was approached, advertisers have begun to pause their ads on YouTube so that this issue can be resolved. According to CNBC, a few companies that have already paused their ads or pulled their ads off of YouTube are Disney, Nestle, and Epic Games, and AT&T has also pulled ads according to The Verge. So we are already starting to see advertisers get cold feet and pull their money out of the YouTube not copyright system, but the advertising system, which, based on the outrage and the coverage, I understand why they are doing this. But let's talk about YouTube's response now. We know that advertisers are pulling out. What is YouTube doing to placate these advertisers' concerns? YouTube went into full crisis mode, which I understand, and they took some much needed and very serious action. They have removed thousands of inappropriate comments that appeared against videos from creators with minors in them, and they have terminated hundreds of viewer accounts for the comments they left on videos and reported the illegal behavior to the NCMEC so that they can work with the proper authorities. And if you don't know what that organization is, it is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. As YouTube states, they have also taken additional steps out of an abundance of caution. And what those steps are: disabling comments. They have disabled comments on tens of millions of videos that may include minors and therefore are at risk of predatory comments. And if you are a creator, you are able to re-enable those comments, but they suggest that you hold and review all new comments for approval to avoid this type of exploitative comment to get through the system. Then we got limited monetization. Videos with minors that are at risk of predatory comments may receive limited or no ads. And you can submit an appeal to YouTube if you believe that this was done in mistake on your channel, which I have seen people tweeting about. Hey, my video got demonetized, or my channel got demonetized, or my entire channel got taken down. I think what that really means is that you just got caught up in this nuclear option that YouTube went down. Now, in conclusion, how does this affect you as a creator? Currently, it's unknown. We could all speculate, but we don't know what the long-term solution to this issue will be. As I mentioned, YouTube went a complete nuclear option and had to act fast. Because of that, there will likely be some false positives that need to be manually reviewed. And if you're a creator who gets caught up in this, do not pass hatred onto YouTube. You want to know why? Because YouTube is doing everything in their power to ensure that there is not another adpocalypse and that there will still be advertisers willing to put their money on the platform so you can make ad revenue in the future when this issue gets completely resolved. But more importantly, they are just attempting to mitigate this entire disaster where children and minors are being exploited and taken advantage of when they're just using YouTube for fun. They are just attempting to keep advertisers happy and ensure that people will continue to spend their ad dollars on the platform. Because if there are no advertiser dollars on YouTube or in YouTube, you're not the only one losing money. YouTube is also losing that money. So don't pass hatred onto YouTube. Understand that they are in a very difficult situation trying to deal with this and avert an even worse public outlash or outcry or PR disaster, essentially. Now, if you're a family YouTuber, chances are this will impact your income and your comments while YouTube works through this. If you're not a family YouTuber and you're over 18, chances are it will have very minimal impact on you. You may have to submit a few manual review requests, but I imagine everything will be restored once it's reviewed, because right now they're just demonetizing and disabling comments on everything. They said tens of millions of videos, so very likely there will be some false positives. Now, there was a tweet from Team YouTube stating that inappropriate comments would lead to demonetization, and that scared everybody, every single creator. But that was before the YouTube blog post came out, and it appears that this is not the case. It's not going to be on every channel. People will not be able to abuse this system, and if they don't like you, just bombard your comments with hateful words to get your video demonetized or get the comments disabled. That's not the case. It appears that this will only affect videos with minors in them, so the majority of people on YouTube will be completely unaffected. Now, what are my thoughts on this? I swear this is the last thing I'm going to cover. I think that Matt went about this in the completely wrong way and falsely blamed YouTube for the entire debacle. Just insane. It seems like he has a chip on his shoulder. Maybe he's a little bit bitter that his little channel, as he called it in his video, didn't grow more. Maybe it didn't get recommended enough, but then he sees, oh, well, this type of content's getting recommended. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just speculating here. I do not know. And additionally, reporting this type of content using YouTube's reporting tools is the correct way to go about this, in my opinion. By making this video, as I've said, it essentially could be used as a guide on how to access this for people who have this pedophilic leaning, this disgusting desire to view this type of stuff. But there was a very good quote from Nerd City that he provided to The Verge, and what he said was, "A YouTuber and their viewers aren't authorized to analyze child porn. We're not allowed to download it. We're not allowed to view it. We're not authorized to determine what laws are being broken and what to do about it. That's not our role. You have to leave that to professionals. If you've actually discovered child porn, you don't need to create awareness of it. You need to report it. And I don't think I could have said it any better than Nerd City. That guy is insanely bright, so I'll leave that alone. And I'll conclude by saying this. Using Matt's logic, it seems like there are only a couple of options that are available here. Number one, nobody under the age of 18 is allowed to be on the internet, because if they were to upload any kind of photograph or video of themselves, there will inevitably be some kind of monster who wants to sexualize that image or video. And then secondly, no websites are allowed to exist on the internet because pedophiles will inevitably use them. So that is the entire story. I wanted to try to go as quickly as possible, but I don't think I did. I think that was the longest story I have ever covered, and I don't know what the solution is going to be. YouTube has a very steep uphill battle to resolve this, and they have to do everything in their power to both protect minors who are using their platform legally and within their terms of service, but also ensure that this entire issue does not lead to the fall of YouTube. That is it. I will go ahead and leave a bunch of articles and videos in these show notes if you want to read a little bit more. Next YouTube story. YouTube has a strike system update. That's right, YouTube released a second blog this last week, and it is regarding updates to the strike system. So starting on February 25th, if you cross the line or break a YouTube policy, you will receive a one-time warning with no penalties to your channel except for the removal of that content, and they have also expanded their policy resources to provide you more detail about strike-worthy behavior. In the post, they also talk about consistent penalties for receiving a strike in the video, the comment section, the description, external links, etc. Strike 1 will lead to a 1-week freeze on the ability to upload any new content to YouTube, including live streaming and other channel activities. The second strike, within a 90-day period, will lead to a 2-week freeze on the ability to upload any new content to YouTube. And strike 3 within a 90-day period will lead to channel termination. The main change here is the first strike. Previously, if you got 1 strike on your channel, that means you were not able to live stream, I believe. But now, it is leading to a complete freeze on your channel for 1 week. But keep in mind, they did add this new warning that each channel gets once. So if you are breaking a policy, it allows you a chance to adjust your behavior and your content so you don't get your channel deleted immediately. They also talk about transparency about channel status, meaning that when you receive a strike, the email and desktop notification will be clearer and provide more details on which policy was violated. And how does this affect you? For most of you, it likely won't, because I am guessing that you don't break YouTube policies that frequently, if at all. And the warning strike system thing is awesome to see because, like I said, this means that you will have a chance to adjust your behavior and your content to avoid breaking the policies further and getting your channel to have an actual strike and losing access to upload new content or even get your channel deleted. And I also appreciate the fact that YouTube is being more transparent with what all of the strikes mean. That is very, very cool. And we are not done with YouTube news. We have one last story, and it is that YouTube demonetized anti-vaccination videos. On BSP 154, I talked about YouTube de-recommending, for lack of a better word, conspiracy videos, not recommending them anymore, kind of pushing them down so they're not as easily discovered. And that was now extended to demonetizing certain conspiracy videos, mainly anti-vaccination channels. So YouTube provided a statement to BuzzFeed News, who broke this story, and they said, "We have strict policies that govern what videos we allow ads to appear on, and videos that promote anti-vaccination content are a violation of those policies. We enforce these policies vigorously, and if we find a video that violates them, we immediately take action and remove ads." And the next portion of this article is really what caught my attention. It comes from BuzzFeed, and they said that 7 different advertisers said they weren't aware that their ads were appearing on videos like Mom Researches Vaccines, Discovers Vaccination Horrors, and Goes Vaccine Free, which advocates against vaccinating children, and reached out to YouTube to pull their programmatic placements. And I'll start by saying this. I think that vaccinations are 100% necessary, and they have done tremendous good for the world and saved countless lives. So I 100% think that vaccinations are a good thing. But with that being said, what this article sounds like to me is that BuzzFeed News went out, found videos that may be considered controversial, saw that there were ads, and contacted the companies that whose advertisements were on these videos and tattled. Hey, did you know your advertisement was showing on this video? Did you know that? I can't believe you would do that. Does this mean that you support anti-vaccination? I imagine that's how the call went. The thing that I find so interesting, though, is that these news agencies seem so concerned with policy breaches or issues with advertisements on YouTube or bad behavior on YouTube. And they love ensuring that advertisers on YouTube have the safest space, as though these advertisers are unable to think for themselves. They feel the need to shame them. We're going to do the shaming for you. We're BuzzFeed. We're these news outlets. Let's shame everybody. It's ridiculous. I don't know what else to say there. Does this affect you? Not right now, unless you're an anti-vaccination channel, which I can't imagine that you are. But who knows what's the next type of content that will get targeted here. It may end up being something more innocuous, not to be not to be confused with inoculation. See what I did there? See what I did there? I'll show myself out. I'm sorry. I just find it so odd that news outlets have adopted the role of shaming YouTube and shaming advertisers for their ads showing on certain types of content. So, good job, BuzzFeed. You've done a good job pointing out this error, and chances are the money isn't going to you because you're not a very reputable news source. That's it. I'll link the BuzzFeed news article if you want to see that. We got a couple pieces of security news. Cameras found in airline seats. Apparently, in-flight entertainment systems used in some American Airlines and Singapore Airlines aircraft, there are cameras in them. That's right, there are cameras staring at you from the back seat, the back of the seat in front of you. The airline stated the cameras have never been active. That's the end of the story. I just wanted to share this, so maybe it's time to start bringing some tape with you when you're flying so you can just cover that, cover all the cameras in the row that you're in so they can't watch you sleeping or doing anything. So creepy. Next, we got a secret microphone in the Nest Secure. Google informed users who owned the Nest Secure that Google's voice assistant would be coming to the device. However, this is where it gets interesting. A microphone had never been listed on the specs of this device. So what does that mean? There's no microphone in this thing. How is Google Voice going to be coming to this? There must be a microphone. Google came out and stated that the on-device microphone was never intended to be a secret and should have been listed on the tech specs. That was an error on our part. And then they went on to say the microphone has never been on and is only activated when users specifically enable the option, and also stated that it was included so it could be enabled for future features. I legitimately don't know what to say about these security stories anymore. We can't seem to buy any tech for our home or go anywhere without being tracked or recorded, whether it be a Blu-ray player, a CD player, a TV, a Bluetooth speaker, Bluetooth headphones, an app on your phone, everything. It seems like we need to revert back and just analog all the things. Disable all the internet connectivity to these devices that don't really need it. Analog all the things. That's my new saying. That's what I'm going for. Next, we got the Samsung event. I'm going to breeze through this. Galaxy Fold looks nice. $1,980 to start with. A very expensive phone, but it folds out to a 7.3-inch tablet. Cool. 12 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabytes of memory, 4,300 4380 milliamp hour battery, 6 cameras, fingerprint sensor on the side, comes out April 26th. The Samsung S10 and S10 Plus, no notch, but it has a little cutout. And something that I found interesting, the background on the press shots has a gradient up to the upper right-hand corner where the cutout is. And if anybody remembers the iPhone, when that came out, there was a gradient going up to where the notch was to hide it. I haven't seen people outraged with Samsung. Oh my God, they're trying to hide the little cutout in the phone. Oh my God, what are they doing? I haven't seen people doing that. Seems like a double standard there. Anyways, it's going to be $900 or $1,000 respectively, and release on February 21st for pre-order. Then you got the S10e, $750, 2-camera array, 5.8-inch display, and most interesting, the Galaxy Buds, $130 free with the pre-order of an S10 or S10 Plus before March 8th. Bluetooth 5.0, 6-hour battery life on a single charge, and marketed as a fuller sound. Acoustic specialists Sound by AKG have tuned Galaxy Buds to deliver incredibly rich, high-resolution live sound. One thing I do like about these, they do have rubber tips on them rather than just the hard shell earbuds like the AirPods and the Google Buds, whatever those are called. So it will likely be offering better sound isolation, and there is also an ambient sound mode, which will let you hear the noise that is going on around you so you don't have to take them out. Very cool. Glad that some companies are releasing fully wireless earbuds that do have some semblance of sound isolation. Very cool. Now let's jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from Kragatar, and he says, if I was Amazon, I certainly would have pulled out. And if I was New York, I would have kissed Amazon's butt to bring their money factory to my city. True, it's a recipe for disaster for a city to depend on a big company's income, but having a self-sufficient economy with that big company's income on top of it is a recipe for prosperity. Kragatar, I do agree with you 100%. I suppose it really comes down to what the citizens' requests and concerns were, which is, I believe, the justification for these politicians pushing back. Oh, our citizens don't want it. I'm not sure if the politicians really had those complaints or if it was just them pushing their own internal agenda saying, hey, we don't like these big companies. Not sure. I never looked up the town hall meetings or wherever this would be discussed. And last week, I was being a bit hyperbolic, stating that the city would be relying solely on Amazon for income, because that would not be the case. There would still be plenty of other companies surrounding the Amazon headquarters that would likely see increased revenue, and that would lead to a very prosperous city having the Amazon money factory, as well as all of the local businesses that are now supporting those employees, and all of those employees' income are getting funneled back into it. So I agree. I think it was a mistake on New York for losing this. Next comment comes from Dallin9, and he says, to answer your question, why do people do things that stress them out more? The answer is simple. They want some control, and increasing the controlled stress makes the uncontrolled stress easier to bear. It's the real reason nicotine and tobacco products become so addicting. They stress the body to a point higher than moderate stress you might get from working, giving the illusion of relaxing the body of stressful situations. Dallin, that is a very good point that I had not considered. I hadn't considered how controlling stress could be the escape that somebody needs to maintain that base level of sanity. I suppose it's the same reason why you hear certain people have eating disorders. Their life is chaotic. They don't feel that they have control over what is happening to them or what is going on around them, and they view controlling what they put in their body as maintaining some control in their life. So it sounds like it's somewhat similar, and very, very good point. Next comment comes from Age of Boredom, and he says, ha! Totally forgot I wrote that comment. Great show as always, Bandrew. The Verge story made me laugh as I just saw about Linus Tech Tips drama and how YouTube sent out a load of content claims to different people on LTT's behalf. Then everyone got pissed at LTT, even though it was an algorithm making the claims. Age of Boredom, Thank you very much for the comment. I also saw this in the news. I did not do too much research into what was happening with LTT, but he definitely did get a lot of hate, and I will look into this over the next week and report on it and talk about it and see what it means. So thank you very much for the comment. Next comment comes from Tech128. He says, I am currently shopping for a NAS. I've been looking at the Synology DS918 Plus and the new DS1019. I'd like to go with Synology, but it gets expensive if you want 10 gigabits per second Ethernet and M.2 SSD cache. QNAP has some crazy hardware options with Thunderbolt support, but I think Synology has better software. What are you looking at buying or already using? Tech128, I have zero experience with the majority of NASs, mainly Synology, never used them. I have heard good things, but I've also heard people saying that they have a higher rate of failure. I don't know from personal experience though. I personally went with the QNAP TSX73. This was based on conversations with people in my Discord server, as well as a family member who is familiar with this type of network devices. I don't know the correct terminology. So that is why I went with QNAP over Synology, and I put 3 8TB Western Digital Reds in there in RAID 5. I think that's what they are. So I'm getting about 16 terabytes of storage, and it was pretty easy to set up. I am not sure about more complex use cases for a NAS, but for basic network storage, it was very darn simple to set up, and I am really liking it so far. I transferred files from computers like that. No freaking thumb drive necessary. Loved that. And the last comment comes from Jason Kirk. Being a Cheryl is my new favorite insult. No one will get why I am calling them that, but I'm okay with that. Jason, that is an amazing idea, and I really look forward to hearing reports back from you regarding awkward encounters that you have with people when you call them a Cheryl, because they won't get it, and it will be hilarious. So report back. I expect weekly reports or bi-weekly reports. Now, let's jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. Alrighty, everybody. If you got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and I will likely answer them on an upcoming episode of the podcast. Reminder, if you want to send in an audio or a video clip, please feel free to do so. I am terrible at reading. It makes my brain hurt, makes me seem stupider than I really am. I don't even think stupider is a real word, but go ahead and send them in. I'll include them, as long as you don't say anything awful. First email comes from Joshua C. Liston. Hi, Bandrew. Hope all is well, man. 2 quick questions for Ask Bandrew. Have you tried the new Backpack Studio app for iOS? And if so, have you tried running your iRig Pre-HD into Backpack Studio? 2, why do you think the developers of Backpack Studio haven't allowed importing from Google Drive to the soundboard in version 1 of the app? Best, Josh Liston. Joshua C. Liston, thank you very much. If you don't know who Josh Liston is, he is the host of the On the Bubble podcast, onthebubblepodcast.com. Go check it out and support him. Amazing Aussie bloke. Love the dude. Really good guy. Number 1, I had not tried the new Backpack Studio app, meaning I had not tried the iRig Pre until yesterday. I went ahead and bought the app, and I plugged in my iRig Pre, and I recorded a very quick test for you. And here that is. All right, Josh, right now I am recording the Shure SM58 running into the iRig Pre connected directly to my iPhone 10, and I am recording in the Backpack Studio app, and I have some of the preset sounds in there, so let's go ahead and test those out. Oh yeah, trap horn. Very funny. Okay, so it does work, the iRig Pre with Backpack Studio. Hope that answered the question that you had about this. So there is my test, SM58 iRig Pre-HD iPhone 10 into Backpack Studio app. I think I recorded at 192 kilobits per second, so not the highest quality, but I just used the presets. To answer the second question, I just downloaded the app on February 23rd. And when I tried to add sounds to the soundboard, I only had a few options. iCloud, the iOS file system, Dropbox, my music library, or you can record your own sound. I don't have any idea why they would omit Google Drive. It could be that they don't want to agree to Google's terms of service, or maybe Google would have wanted access to users' information and they did not want to provide that. I don't know. I am purely speculating here. So, no idea. Maybe tweet at them and include me in that tweet, because I would love to know why they omitted that as well. Seems like a big oversight on their part. Very great questions. And again, on thebubblepodcast.com. Next email comes from Yorin. He says, a few months ago, I decided to make YouTube tutorials. I wanted to have a good audio quality, so I bought a Devine BM-1000 recording microphone and a UM2 interface. Both had very nice quality. I was very pleased with it, but there is a problem. When I switch my interface and mic, you can switch the BM-1000 between dynamic and condenser mode to dynamic mode. I can't record any sound. So what he's saying is this microphone has a condenser and a dynamic mode. And when he switches the microphone to dynamic mode and turns phantom power off on the UM2, he's not able to get any sound. He says, I thought I needed to install some drivers, but nothing seems to help. To make sure my mic wasn't damaged, I tested my mic on dynamic mode with another USB sound card, and it worked just fine. So I searched a bit deeper, and I checked the voltage going to the mic. On condenser mode, I got a nice 46 volts, but on dynamic mode, meaning no phantom power on, I got almost nothing between 0 volts and 1 volt. I found it a bit strange, so I contacted Bandrew. They suggested to use another dynamic mic and isolate to where the problem may be. Through the other dynamic mic, I was indeed able to record sound, but as soon as I connected back my BM-1000, I couldn't record any sound. Two things I want to ask you. Can you measure the voltage out of the XLR jack on the UM2 without phantom power on? And do you maybe know what's the problem with my interface? Also, want to say big fan of podcast. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Yorn. Thank you very much for the email. I had not heard of the Devine BM-1000. And I especially had not heard of the Devine BM-1000 having the ability to switch between condenser and dynamic mode. So I went ahead and jumped onto Google, and I found a listing for this on bax-shop.co.uk. And turns out that the way that they market it, that is true. It has both dynamic and condenser modes on this microphone. To answer the first question, voltage output of an interface, of any interface, when phantom power is turned off, it should in fact be 0 volts. There should be no phantom power being passed through to your microphone. So that is not an issue with your interface. That is functioning correctly. So this leads me to believe, or it led me to believe, that it is an issue with your microphone. To me, what it does sound like is that this microphone that you purchased is not actually a dynamic microphone. I don't believe that it is actually a dynamic microphone. It more sounds like it is only changing the power requirements from plus 48 volts down to 5 volts, meaning it's going from full condenser mode down to electret condenser mode. So if you went from connecting the microphone with an XLR to XLR cable into your UM2 with phantom power off, the microphone is getting 0 volts. But if you connect the microphone with an XLR to 3.5 millimeter cable and connect it to a USB sound card that has the microphone input and the headphone output in 3.5 millimeter form, or you connect it to your computer's microphone input, both of those, the USB sound card and your microphone input on your computer, will be passing through some amount of voltage to the microphone. That is why I believe that this is not actually a dynamic microphone. It's just switching from full condenser down to electret condenser. I went ahead and pulled these specs of the BM-1000 from that website, and it becomes very apparent why you are having this issue. Look at the power requirements of the BM-1000. It says plus 5 volts or plus 48 volts. So this company, Devine, D-E-V-I-N-E, is falsely advertising this microphone as dynamic. It is not a dynamic microphone. It is, at best, an electret condenser microphone. Very misleading because now you run into this issue where you think your interface is broken. It's not your interface. It's the microphone not being what they are saying that it is. There you go. That's my solution for you, or that's my answer for you. Not a dynamic microphone. Next email and final email comes from Kirk. He says, hello. I really find your podcast's YouTube channel very helpful. Thank you very much, Kirk. Appreciate you. If you have time for a quick reply, I wanted to ask you for a recommendation for the best budget microphone to use for podcasting. Basically, looking for something as inexpensive as possible that still has great quality. Lots of bang for the buck. I'd rather go XLR than USB, and I do have an audio interface with phantom power. Thanks again, Kirk. Kirk, thank you very much for the email. Easy question. Such an easy question. You are going to love this. Behringer XM8500. It's a killer microphone for the money, and it sounds surprisingly good. I outfitted an entire conference, the panel rooms, with Behringer XM8500s. That's how much I liked the microphone. For $20, $20 each. They sound great. They're built relatively well enough to last a couple of years at a convention. I think you'll be perfectly fine with this. Gets you going on your podcast. You get a good sound. You'll be very happy with it. Behringer XM8500, non-spawn. That is it for this episode. My God, that first story took forever. I apologize. I hope it didn't get too dark for you guys. I appreciate you sticking with me through that. As far as personal stuff, got two things. Number one, I was just on Podcasters Roundtable, round 126, with Dave, Jackson, and Ray Ortega. We talked about burnout. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about it, but I had a very fun conversation with them. It was great actually finally meeting Dave Jackson, who I had never met before, and actually finally recording with Ray. We've spoken many, many a time, but never actually recorded anything together. And it was funny. I said, well, it's a good thing that I was burned out and needed a break because now I have Thursdays free to jump onto your show. Fun stuff. And the second personal thing, apparently, this last week, the 21st of February, 2019, marks 3 years of this show since its relaunch. I had no idea. So Tim Gabur, thank you very much for bringing this to my attention. Thanks to you, each and every one of you, for listening and watching for 3 freaking years. I can't believe I've been going for that long. I thought I would have got burned out of this and just said, I'm done. I'm just going to go sit there and just do. I don't know. So thank you guys so much for 3 amazing years of supporting this podcast and this show. I love making it still. It's so much fun, even when we have horrifying stories. And I love seeing how it's progressed. I love progressing the show and hearing it change and improve it, because there's always something that needs a lot of improvement on this show. So that is going to be it for today. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Want more amazing shows? geeksrising.com. Go check that out. And I will see you all next week. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See ya. Podcastage outro on the Geeks Rising Presents the Bandrew Says podcast with your host, Bandrew Scott. See ya.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.